everyone. We're going to get started in a few minutes. If you could find a seat. I can't really tell if there's seats left upstairs. It looks like there's a few. And if there's no seats down here, there's standing room over to house left over there. Thanks. Okay, we're going to get started. Hi, everyone. I think Lewis is going to start breathing through his nose now. That's Lewis osmosis over there. I'll explain that a little bit more. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Triple Canopy's third annual symposium. My name is Zach Wilkes. I'm the deputy director here at Triple Canopy. Thanks for being here, and if you're tuning into the live stream, thanks for watching. If you're new to us, Triple Canopy is a New York-based magazine that works to amplify the perspectives of artists and writers in examining the role and conditions of culture. We do this through writing and art that we publish online, as well as performances, roundtables, lectures, and books. The idea is to maintain a feedback loop between the magazine's contributors and audiences, and to us, testing out new ideas in public is a critical element of what we do. You can learn more about Triple Canopy at canopy.com. The symposium is starting tonight, which I'm very excited about. It's been a real pleasure to put this together, is an in-person, real-time instantiation of Triple Canopy's distinctive and wide-ranging approach to publishing. It's also an attempt to break down the line between criticism and cultural production, as you'll see here tonight and tomorrow if you come tomorrow. We're very grateful to be partnering on the symposium with Critical Minded, an initiative that supports cultural critics of color. And we're excited to be hosted by and collaborating with Roulette again. We'd also like to thank our media sponsors, Bomb Magazine, the New York Review of Books, and Boston Art Review. Triple Canopy is a nonprofit organization, and nearly everything we do is free, including tonight. But producing this work is not free. It's actually quite expensive, and we're very committed to fairly paying our contributors. Funding this type of thing isn't getting easier, as I'm sure most of you know, and it's not going to get easier anytime soon. So please consider supporting us, which you can do by scanning a QR code at the bar, at the front merch table, buying a book, tote, or scarf, or finding me or any of my colleagues. In case you haven't noticed, we've kind of started. This is what we're calling the Holes Marathon. It's an evening of performances and presentations devoted to holes, which is the theme of the next issue of the magazine, which will begin publication next month. That's Louis Osmosis, right here, doing a performance called Zamboni Muzak, or a Swissening Party in the Key of A, which is the tuning of the harmonica that's attached to a ball gag. Since he can't really speak for himself, he prepared something for me to read. As of late, I feel overdetermined by holes, overdetermined by being a hole, overdetermined by the inheritance of holes, overdetermined by the efficacy of a whole. Negation this, negation that, negation this, negation that. My mother fancies herself a pit, my father an abyss, my non-existent sibling a loophole, myself an alibi, and tonight's itinerary a thing of Swiss cheese, a thing that reeks of its porosity, that arrives with many holes, that ferments and rots its way into the holes that comprise a name. A leaky rowboat that is patched up and retconned to the point of imploding that ship of Theseus. It is but a hull of corks, an anxious stockpile of mutes. A ground that resembles a game of Twister, and its prerequisite figures a cast of contortionists. Because anything with enough holes, sooner or later, might resonate to the point of recasting itself as a woodwind, an iron lung, a tuba, an individual, a recorder, a crowd, a pipe organ, a commons, a pan flute, and the situation, a harmonica, all in the key of A. In the dialogic words of Pope L, my heart is a hole. What does that mean? It means it is very, very sad, a receptacle. For what? Is it sad now? For sound, yes. What kind of voice? The sound of a voice? Whose? Was it sad yesterday? The sound of bone, the grinding together of bone, yes. Thank you, Louis. We can switch the stream over to the next thing. So we're going to continue now. Next up is Zoe Hopkins, a writer and independent art critic. Then we'll have Miyasar Kurdi, an artist and musician who's debuting a new piece developed in collaboration with Maki Mukuk. Next up, after that, will be Maya Martinez, a writer and performer, and Lucas de Lima, a poet, artist, scholar, educator, and my former roommate. The night will conclude with performances by Samara Sarai, a choreographer, and Greg Bordowitz, an artist and writer, who is also our 2020 benefit honoree. I'm very happy to welcome Zoe Hopkins to the stage.
Hey, minor jitters, but super cool to see all of you here. To briefly contextualize what I'll be speaking about, I'm doing a bit of an homage to and with Pope L, late and great. I'll be culling lots of quotations from his whole theory, which is a document that we just heard quoted through the words of Louis. And without further ado, I'm gonna begin. I'm beginning with an image of William Pope L's 1996 performance, Sweet Desire, AKA Burial Piece, for which the artist buried himself up to the neck in a hole in the ground at Skowhegan. He stayed there motionless in the earth for 8 hours, wearing a suit and watching a bowl of ice cream melt in the sun. He begins the performance by asking, what do Black people want? What do they want it from? Why do they want it? In these impossible questions is the performance of freedom as freedom's absence, or the gaping hole that desire makes in the ground of freedom, or freedom as the freedom to desire and freedom from desire, or freedom as desire's imminent negativity, or freedom as the whole itself, or freedom as the earth's question. The performance of freedom finds its literal ground in the submission to a literal earthboundness, a knowledge of the earth's mouth and its captivity to swallow you up, a proximity to the 0 degree that is death within the blackness of the soil. Beneath this sentence is a hole, he writes. I write in response. If meaning is a topos or a topographical field, blackness is the chasmic mark of the atopic. Meaning is an earth that I've forgotten how to live on. I make a hole in its ground, and I go into its occulted subsoil, leaving the stuff of my language behind. The deeper I dig, the wider the life of my silence, the more its tremors disturb the crust of meaning. I dig with my mouth wide open, and the dirt tastes like the sentence I will never write. I eat the dirt, and wordlessly, the sentence writes itself in me. Then it leaves the world. Now there is a new void in my language, pressing up against all the other ones. I gather them together and make a page. I write a prayer to the minor gods of my lack. My favorite holes are the ones that leak, or express lack as leak. My favorite sentences are the ones that run on, dragging themselves across the surface of language like Pope dragged himself all over the surface of the city. Picture this. A sentence runs away from itself and onto the street, way out there with the rest of the base material and detritus and shit, where it becomes the movement of a body, becomes the heat of a friction between body and rough ground, between performance and inertia, between having and giving up. Pope L's art speaks from these cuts or interstices, where it stages a great love affair with the non and the un and the sub, with the dynamite of negativity that detonates in the very core of articulation, the whole buried so deep within expression that it can only blow open a portal to whatever is possible beyond expression, which is to say, possibility itself. In other words, Pope L is a reminder that the abyss loves you deeply, in a language that has no bottom, to speak every word, including the ones we don't have. On the ground, where he materializes the stitch between object and abject, Pope hears void humming in the asphalt, the sound of language giving itself up and then asking after its own absence. On the ground, the body becomes formless, in Bataille's sense of the word, no longer signifying in an economy of formal coherence, which is the coherence of the upright, of standing, of the understanding. Pope's body is, quote, a term that serves to bring things down to the world. Can a body get low enough in its own gravity that it gets all the way down into the hole beneath the sentence? Which is to ask, was Pope trying to crawl on the street all the way below the linguistic surface where meaning loses its form? Or, in following Pope, can I ask, is it possible to make a hole in my skin through which I can crawl outside of my body's text, outside of the markings of discourse inscribed on and bound to its surface? To crawl is to succumb to a humility involved in dispossessing oneself of the vertical and all of the terrible hierarchies housed therein. It is to praise the extremities of gravity, forego standing to forego the language of the understanding, inhabit and exalt the non and the un of flatness, cleave to that hardness of surface upon which the fantasies of uprightness and sovereignty shatter, back to an antecedent, antinomian ground zero. Assume that new angle of approach which requires one to abandon an epistemology of assumption, to disabuse oneself of the notion that you can presume any imminent knowledge of the world, of the self, of signs, of knowledge. The clicker is refusing. Oh, great. Okay. think it's, okay. Okay, we're good, okay. Okay, sorry. I can't think Pope and his performance of freedom's low-grade, low-to-the-ground questions without Harriet Jacobs. Can't think crawl without her crawl space. Can't think whole theory without the loophole of retreat. For 7 years, Jacobs hid in a crawl space in her grandmother's house, awaiting the moment it would be safe enough to leave and seek freedom. She uttered hardly a word, watched the world silently through her loophole of retreat, a small hole in the wall through which she saw her children go by and loved them. The hole beneath the sentence is the loophole, is subterfuged black vision concealing itself in or behind the eye of negativity, is nothing other than the deliverance of escape. The fugitive blows a hole in the time of unfreedom, and it begins to leak with faith. She steals away and waits, wordless duration and desire, in the hole, or dwelling in absentia of home, in abeyance, in the plenum of absence, in the terrible freedom of speechlessness, where blackness makes a loophole in the law of being and in the movement of time. Hands burning from the asphalt and throat scorched with the cry of negativity, you give yourself over to your lack of language, a language which isn't yours, because nothingness doesn't belong to anybody, because nothingness is nobody's, because the torque with which have-notness overtakes and dispossesses its language opens up your ground. The definition of nothing is not anything, but Pope reminds us that have-notness permeates everything I do. So nothing is the lack that is not anything, but everything. Or in Fanon's words, at the crossroads between nothing and infinity, I began to weep. But I'm interested too in the nullity as a kind of apophatic transcendence. It can't be forgotten that emptiness is a mystical practice, that there's a hole which opens the spirit up beyond its limits, but the body is still there. There should be one more image, but it's not. And one more time, I repeat, I write a prayer to the minor gods of my lack. I want to quickly revisit this slide and contextualize the page here, for which I just did a Command F for Harriet Jacobs, through Harriet Jacobs's loophole of retreat, searching for the word nothing. And here are a few of the responses that came up. Said nothing. There could be nothing done. There was nothing to be gained. I said nothing. Nothing ever came of it. Thought nothing. To say nothing of my soul. I knew nothing more. Nothing of that now. I want nothing for myself. Nothing might occur, nothing to do with me, nothing to fear, could see nothing, and nothing less, knew nothing of my intention to escape, know nothing. Thank you.
Hello. I will be performing the last 10 minutes of the play called Whole Play, written by Maya Martinez. It is a play about a girl who finds a hole in a Party City parking lot on Halloween. No, yeah, it's like truly like not like a pothole or like even like a kind of deep hole. You have to wrap your head around this, Janine. There's a fucking seemingly endless hole in the Party City parking lot. Say it 5 times fast, Janine. There's a fucking seemingly endless hole in the Party City parking lot. There's a fucking seemingly endless hole in the Party City parking lot. There's a fucking seemingly endless hole in the Party City parking lot. And you know what else? No one seems to give a flying fuck about this hole. There's no cones, no tape, no neon signs. People are just like parking around it all willy-nilly. From what I can tell, like, no one even cares. Is this a safety hazard? I mean, it feels like no one else can see it but myself. And if they do see it, they don't care. Can property value deflate from a small hole in the corner of a parking lot? I mean, should I get some orange cones, like make a scene of it? I mean, is it even a sinkhole? I see the cement and then the dirt, but not even dirt, new dirt, under earth. Am I crazy? Like, I didn't see it when I parked either, and like bystanders are just walking by, and like I'm seeing it now, and it's freaking me out. Janine, I was at a party last weekend, and we took ecstasy, and my friend told me that bystander syndrome wasn't real, and that just felt like really good to hear, you know? Just like rolling face, and somebody tells you like humanity is like a bit better than you thought. You know, bystander syndrome. Janine, it's like when a group of people witness something horrific happen and they're all like, oh my God, somebody please help. But like they're all the somebodies. It's like everyone is useless because they think like the person next to them will do something about it. But here we all are. Oh my God. Here I am, standing by this hole, doing nothing about it. I'm as useless as everyone else in the Palm Enclave Paradise Plaza parking lot. Maybe even more useless because I'm a witness to this and I can't move past it. I'm trapped, Janine! And what if I did do something about this hole? I don't even know what my action would take the shape of, how to move my body around an opening. I mean, what does helping a hole look like? I can hardly believe myself right now, Janine. It scares me that this hole can exist and like people aren't afraid that they'll fall in, or like worse, like what could come out? Like I could just fall down this hole like right now. One little slip and whoopsie. What? No, I'm not gonna jump down some hole when I know we have a party to go to tonight. Janine, come on. But, Janine, do you believe me? Like, as my best friend, do you believe me about this hole? You don't believe me. You're not saying you believe me, and you're not saying you don't. Okay, believe me about what part? Stumbling across the truth isn't making things up, Janine. I'm real, and this hole is real. And if this hole isn't real, I'm here with my own 2 eyes. Janine, please! We sit around smoking weed all day, slowly applying small bits of makeup to our faces. We go to our dumb jobs and smile at customers and let ourselves be looked at. We make some money, but we make no money. We repost a photo of us looking just the right amount of hot. We post a video to Instagram just to see who will view it. We go home, we eat our takeout, And before bed, we rub one out. Then we wake up and do it all again the next day. And for what? For what, Janine? So what's the harm in believing me? Believing this whole? The earth is ending, Janine, and we can't do anything about it. The earth is ending. When cracked open, like an egg, only hot light will escape. And haven't you been watching all these years? Earth spiraling in place, being its own halo force. We are experiencing the hottest years on this planet. Street signs are melting, and it's like, what do we want at the end of all this? When the earth begins to fold in, oceanic crust, coral reef bleached dead in the last century, glaciers dissolving at triple speed. Western monarch butterfly reports an 86% decline compared to last year. A prediction extinct in 20 years! And every year it gets worse. Increased hurricane, increased drought, increased heat wave. We lose soil faster than we can make it. I have read that somewhere. Can we even make it? Is that why this hole is here? Soil loss? And then there's the flooding. Cities weren't made to flood. A maze is a maze is a maze, dead end and some hedge fund close to it, and I'm oblivious to it. And now this hole is here, and I have to admit I'm jealous. But did I notice the hole too late? Okay, what I'm saying is, Janine, the earth is ending. We know it's ending. We see it on the news. We see it on the feed. We see it live, and we see it spread. And these holes are no coincidence. And I mean, like, what am I actually supposed to do about it? Like, I recycle like everyone else. And you don't see everyone else worried about this hole. You can't seem to believe me, but I don't even need you to believe me. I know things will go on all the same once I leave this hole. I can forget this whole thing even happened. Things like that are easy. We'll get cute, and the earth will get hotter, and we'll go to work hungover, and it'll all be okay. It'll all be okay. It'll all be okay. It'll all be okay. But fuck, Janine! Have you ever wanted to be a hole? A gape? A power? A swelling force? A trap with expansion and then enticing release? Or do you not understand beauty? Understanding isn't something to be afraid of. Jealousy isn't something to be afraid of. I could fall down this hole right now, rewrite my petty narrative. Cute local sea center of earth, party girl disappears down hole. Girl accepts paradise. There are holes all over this earth, Janine. Holes people will never see, holes people abandoned, openings everywhere. And we don't even know where they go. The continental crust is what, like 25 miles down? Then the upper mantle, the lithosphere, the earth continues inward. Below us is a furnace. You could fall into the face of the earth and be lucky enough to peer into it. Be lucky enough to witness some sweet, hot light. Be lucky enough to catch a glimpse of hellfire before welding with the asphalt consistency. Melting, wet, rock, my magma coffin. Do you think the center of the earth could push me into the shape of a marble? A tiny, hot, smooth piece of glass. I want to be delicately burned by the earth, Janine! Maybe the earth isn't ending. Maybe these holes are meant for us because maybe we're ending. Is this a nightmare for you? Something that makes you anxious and stiffens your whole body when you think about it? Horror, unknowing, but if you just slipped in the puddle would feel so good. Good horror, wet horror, fear that settles between your jaw and your collarbone, and when you tilt your head back, you feel the ecstasy release down your neck. A sucking fear, a shaping fear, a sucking hole. Is the air so cold from falling? Is the air so hot you only feel it as cold? fucking descend, hear no echo, be nowhere, obliterated ground spinners spinning. And then there's liquid metal at the end of it all. That's what's at the center of the earth. A bunch of iron and nickel that is so taut with envy it becomes a solid 9,000 degrees Fahrenheit, and we can't even begin to imagine the compact vibrations all gathered at the center of the earth. No wonder this hole is here. It has to be here to let itself breathe, needing to be selfish, strung out, and use it against me like I am nothing. Under it, the earth, taut now, and always frigid with ending. And how silly of me to make this world ending about me. How silly of me to make this whole about me. How silly of me to project myself onto catastrophic metaphors. But if you were the center of the earth with all that anxiety, wouldn't you open up too? Luster, reflect light from the surface of a mineral. Luster, reflect light from the surface of face, fucked, earth. Luster, reflect light from the surface. I dab my life with mercy multiple times. Wring out the cloth. Let the extra mercy drip on my head. Okay, you're still there, right? Okay, yeah. Oh yeah. No, I'm gonna figure out how to move my car out of the parking spot without getting in a hole. Oh, okay. The ecstasy guys there. Okay, yeah. I'll just match whatever you want to get. Okay, cool. Okay, love you, girl. I'll see you soon. Bye.
A tear in our hands, a break in the sky. It's not Mars where I want to be buried. It's here with all the jockstrap gods and daddies of the sun, cosmic bottoms who power erosion with light. Somehow, I have to stay human as I bottom in the dark. In the dark room, bottoming is not galactic, with flight in and out of the void. A bear in his 60s exposes my skies for the community. He makes a third eye blink from my sphincter, the beam of an alien conjured bird-like. To sit on the toilet and meditate from within and without becomes an act of worldly love, the wriggle of a worm pushing out. All shit hinges on how much I open up. I only shed light for the most missionary of tops, he who unnursed me like Rilke whispering, you must charge your whole, you must give them life. Like a prayer, my body broke down into the petals I believed in, and plastic I couldn't transform into a bird whose tears were made of amethyst, who wanted the virus to be violets, more violent than roses christened as thorns. And I reach into my hole for a pierced horizon I could drink from. If wars were the end of poetry for a while, it took warts to end, gyrations in the sky, until I turned my subsurface inside out with a finger and traced a vein of coal seam on fire, an underground star. Then I could drink from my polluted hole, a world, the whore of my heart. When we die, we streak the horizon with a palette of shit. When we die, there is no one to enshrine the principle of bottoming, even as demand for fertile cavities grows. To become rose bushes emitting shades of red. To be the earthquake that sucks and swallows every vertical protrusion, symbolic or material, but never a tree. Trees give us permission to create a bottomless world. They oxygenate invisible rings of interior life. I shit on pink dick. a cascade like a harp in the sky for every century meeting in my veins. I eat my own shit off a pink dick and swallow the daddies to catch the government, swallow the government to catch the cops, swallow the cops to catch the borders, swallow the borders to catch corporations, swallow corporations to catch settlers and enslavers, swallow settlers and enslavers to catch their cum that wriggles and jiggles and tickles inside of me. In the leather harness, I am a horse who swallows and doesn't want to breed. I want to ride and die to be bred again, a half-breed in the hole, a hole in the stampede. Ariel wants to be part of my world, even though her lyricist died of AIDS. She rips off her scales one by one. She electrifies the sky with her voice, suddenly a merman wielding a knife to free netted fish. The sky lights up, and Ariel loses her transgender ambition. She goes on reading underwater because words have their own luminescence. She thinks of the packed red earth and remembers her hair. Like fire, she swirls and crackles despite a seed planted in her throat, a blowjob too violent to sing out of her. What she witnesses in fish-killing blooms, oxygen-deprived dead zones, hollows out her power ballad. If only clam breasts could orchestrate thunder. If only the enemy weren't as invisible as she is to see birds who could stitch the world together. When the seed fertilizes in Ariel's throat, she grows the plasma of rebirth, a force field of reckoning forged in plastic. Her eyes redden like laser. They turn into one circle eye, the circuiting of her anal vision cloaked in scales through a socket. Her unified line of sight makes the oceans turn pink with blood and flowers and sea foam that never ceases to fizz. Not an earthbound spirit, but the meat of the sea, Ariel becomes the divine bottom of all depths. She cradles the drowned bodies of humans before carving them out, sucking their visions dry to see a world beyond them. The Cuban daddy's in the cheap hotel room. The younger one angles his cock sideways into my throat, and my seams burst. His torso is smooth, and so is mine. He pounds the capitalist out of me, and trees erupt all around the bed. We are at the Malecón. When the seed in his mouth also bursts into a rose, Fidel's face through the trees. Fidel and Che want to DP me. The bed is in a room without a bathroom. I ask one of the daddies to pee in my mouth. On our island of visions, everyone glows with a blue tint, and the moon above is supreme. The toy poodle by my side is named Arco Iris. He wants to lick the deer that emerge from trees. Every throb comes from trees, and the soil in my anus feeds everything. When the older Cuban daddy fucks me, his island grows. My anus, the buffer of hurricanes that his island used to be. And then I see the legislators of the world seal my body anew until a hemorrhoid like an eye swells my opening. And I join an unearthed chorus of poets who eat the shit, who fuck with the shit, who speak the truth they cannot bear. The truth of the prolapsed, lyric on a threshold, the bottom on fire, all the way down to her depths. Magnetic fields, magnetic tails. I trap charged particles in my hole, whooshing within solar wind. In outer space, I don't think of my lover or father. I don't think of babies I'll never have. I think like an egg would think, cracking myself the way I've been cracked before on Earth, but harder, stronger, faster, yolk bubbling on Mars, whites bleeding into stars, my shell dispersed in the rings of Saturn. All the bottoms of the universe rise up in planetary sickness and health. The spirits of civets, porcupines, turtles lay in wait when the virus traverses a rainbow of species. The brush raised, a shrill cry in the zenith. We open our mouths to inhabit the cry. We take in the dead from morning till night. The rats and bats encircle us like ghouls. We try to stave off their flying flesh, but everyone needs a host in their life. We get it. This is why we diversify. We open our bodies to the virus, to each other, and everything else. A circle of life, a disintegrating forest, the rainfall of blood where we once killed and ate. As we chug sunlight through our holes, legs in the air, our faces crack like plates, and via an airborne spectrum, we birth the children who infect us. And when presidents fall with the canopy, wheezing alone in their beds, our rainbow links up with the undergrowth. We gather within us the souls of the wet market, of the hospital, and places without hospitals, to catch the dead from morning till night. We web the sky with our fabric of tears. We cry out with the roots all day. When I can't fuck anything, and the scarification of my dick, and the broken godhead of my dick is what I submit to and forgive. I, castrato, sing a hymn for the earth as I climb the heights, as I take the loads that killed so many bottoms and still kill. In 1991, on a cliff in the blast of the setting sun, an ephemeral waterfall swallows the stars, and like molten lava, the hole in the ozone burns a trail in my guts. So I dive into the ribbon of liquid flame glowing, Sky Daddy's prophecy through my hole, goading. The bird on fire inside you is not a poem, but the universe lit up by your bussy, spark of light, of life from within, by your bussy, the only match for my meltdown. Mother myself, mother my poetry, mother my mother, mother my lovers, my whole the ultimate motherfucker. Because there's no way out of my heart, no matter how much I interface with my whole. It turns out my whole is the excavated twin to my heart. It turns out I have nowhere else to go. A wound that flaps, I need another world. A wound that asks, can people live without a tongue? A wound that drips, this world is nearly done. A wound that breaks out of itself. I need to feel a rush of blood. A wound that refuses to get cold. A wound that stays red, refuses to turn purple. A wound like the equator, splitting the world. The spit in the wound that falls from the sky, eventually moistening the crust. A gob of spit and not a tear blesses the wound, encrusted no more, lubricated for words. For the wound, I still cry, while the wound does all the work. As a pledge to the wound, I put my hand on my breast, heat lifted to the surface of skin. The skin, the wound dissolves. The sky that is allowed to take over my skin, each surface speckled with blood.
see there's a motherfucking show going on. Hey, hey, look at me. I have a hole in my mouth. I found out this was about holes today. So, and I dance. There's these people in the crowd. How will I get, oh my God, is she gonna fall? Sit down. Sit on down, white man. Am I right? Will she jump? Hole without an L is hoe. And you use a hoe to dig a hole. And a hole is in a hoe. Do you guys go to dance shows? What? You don't. And you should, okay? Because this is art. Oh my God. Ah! You guys can't see what's happening all the way up here. Tell them, is it good? Is it good? Stop! 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 It's about me. It's about me. This is about me. I've always been misunderstood. I can't stand on my feet. Do you guys think entertainment is cheap? No. I don't. Excuse me. It's weird that you guys are up. Sit down. Move. I said to move. What is happening? Okay, real quick, while we're here, all of you, 1,000 of you that are here for a free event, I have a non-free one. October 16th through 18th at Dance Space. Come see Dance. Black people, we dance. This and that's the hall. Hold on. Whoa. My partner is in the audience, and I know she's like, "Ciao." All right now, that's her. Because yes, my knees will hurt. Okay. We're gonna do something different. I'm gonna lasso and give you the hole that I was booked for. Hold on. Stay! This is a stool! I'm just playing. I'm literally not even tired. Okay. This is the lasso. I really like to do lassoing. I started doing it in the pandemic because I thought it was a way to connect to, well, Aunt Grant, you know, my dead father. Her daddy's dead. Oh, I'm fine, bitch. Okay. Yeah, you can still hear me, because I bet you can't project. So we have a lasso. I know 3 tricks. This is fail and success. So the first one, we have the flat loop. All right now, there we go. That's not call and response, black people. All right now, I'm gonna jump in, and let's see if I make it. Oh. It's not going to work. But it will work, and you're going to stay here until it does work. But the man in the back is cute to just go hard blackout when I'm at my 15. Guys, you guys know Beyonce? Remember when she had Cowboy Carter? I did not get booked. And that's why I'm at Triple Canopy. So, doing poetry in the independent magazine. All right, well, I'll say. What do you think? Like, how will I... Hole, mole, control, foil, loyal, despicable. That's different, getting dark. Okay. Okay, so this is the wedding ring. Commit to me. Woo. So here's a story. I met this white man on YouTube. And he said, hey, and I said, hey, and his name on YouTube was the Rhinestone Roper, and he does lassoing tricks. And so I would comment on his videos and say, hey, Rhinestone Roper, do you have any ways that I can get better at lassoing? He said, yeah. And he would tell them to me. Then he said, hey, Samar, I said, what? He said, let's move this to email. I said, sure. Put my email to him on the YouTube. I started sending him videos of me lassoing. I got much better. He gave me great critique. And then one day, he said, hey, Samara, would you like to be my Wild West rodeo assistant? I said, tell me more. He said, well, firstly, my name is Dan. I said, okay, Dan, sorry. And then he said, come to Iowa and help me in my Wild West rodeo show. I said, what am I going to do? He said, okay, you're going to ride the Wheel of Destiny. I said, okay, I'm ready. What else? He said, take care of horses. What else did you say, Samara? Throwbacks! I said, okay. So I did. I said, I'm coming. He said, I can pay you $700 for a week, cash. I said, okay, I was going to even pay to come. And I said, wait, really quick before I come, Dan, what is the Wheel of Destiny? Thinking it was like a metaphor? And he said, oh, it's just this wheel that I put you on and I throw knives at you. He said, but don't worry, I never miss. He threw knives at me 15 times. We had 3 shows a day. And stay with me, the girl in the front, you're fading. Eyes puckered. I'm literally doing more than you've ever done. I'm dropping my pelvis and grounding into the floor, and for 15 fucking minutes, I'm trying for you. And you want to go, that's cool, she can kick her legs and throw a rope. Yeah, just like the past 15 years of my practice. So I went, and I had that knife thrown at me a lot, and it was really crazy. But I don't know, I don't really have much more to say other than that. I told him to, cut the lights on me at 15, but she yawned, and the rope has been roped. It feels like we're going into a hole. So, guy in the back, go ahead and cut me out. Come to my show, October 16th through 18th at Dance Space. See Dance!
Hi. Just getting this all adjusted here. I'm Greg. Okay. I'm just going to talk for about 15 minutes or so. And I thought tonight I would think about 2 things, keeping 2 things in my head here. Thinking about BDS and BDSM. Right? BDS, BDSM. Right? BDS, boycott, divestment, sanctions. Boycott, divestment, sanctions against the state of Israel. I signed on to that a long time ago. We'll continue to honor BDS until Palestinians are safe. Palestine is free. All right, let's hear you do the same thing for BDSM. Woo! Bondage, discipline, sadism, masochism. Ooh, I got excited. Bondage, discipline, sadism, and masochism. What do these 2 things have to do with each other? Not much, but I'm going to make something of it. BDS, BDSM. I'm old. You might not have noticed that, but I am old or older. And in my generation of queer theory, we made much about the psychosexual dynamics of fascism. We thought a lot about that. How many people have thought a lot about that? The psychosexual dynamics of fascism? Yeah, a few people. All right, and the figure I brought on stage with me, can't see it, but this is a great Brassai picture of Jean Genet, French writer. Yeah, French writer, homosexual, thief, and writer. Homosexual, thief, and writer. Jean Genet. Mid-20th century. This book, Funeral Rites, published in 1953 in France, 1969 in the United States. This is an amazing book to consider tonight. First, thank you, Triple Canopy. Thank you, Triple Canopy. I'm really happy to be here, and really happy to be here with all the other artists. Thank you. I know that was a digression. I'm winging it here. I'm improvising. We all are. Yes, exactly. So we all are winging it. BDS to BDSM, psychosexual dynamics of fascism. porosity. The first word is porosity. Porosity is the amount of permeability of a boundary or line. A hole is not necessarily an inside and an outside. It's a diameter, right? The inside and the outside, this is really a matter of conjecture. Think about eating. Eating is an inside-outside job, right? You swallow the food. You think it's inside you. Actually, it's on the outside, because we're kind of like tubes. We're like donuts. That's what we are biologically. The food passes through the outside inside, is absorbed through a number of chemical interactions, enzymes, and then passes out the other side. The inside and the outside is a matter of conjecture. Porosity is a measure of how permeable boundaries are. Like skin. Skin, the largest organ of the body, is permeable, right? It lets things out, it brings things in, it holds things together, but it's also a continuity. What kinds of figures and shapes this brings to mind, and how can it let us think further about the connection that I'm trying to make? So then I think about melancholy. Melancholy, according to Sigmund Freud, is the suffering of grief and the inability to mourn. The mechanism by which this is described in psychoanalytic theory is one incorporates the absence as a whole within oneself that cannot be shed or displaced. It becomes part of the notion of the self, the part of our self-understanding. It's an absence that was outside that we then conceive of as inside and are unable to pass it. This is the mechanism of melancholy. How many people feel that? Melancholy is sadness, abiding sadness. Melancholy is abiding sadness and grief. And I feel that. The thing about BDS to BDSM is the fact that we can all think that, right? There's the possibility here of touching something similar like experience through testifying to experience that we can all touch even though we experience it as a singular being, but also as a group. Right? And therefore, we're neither inside nor outside of anything, but always at the boundary of ideas and at the boundary of each other's consciousness. So I think a lot about orifices and cavities. I say prayers in the morning. I don't know how many people do that, but I pray when I wake up every morning. And there's a prayer in the liturgy. Thank you, God, for making me with many openings and cavities. If one of them were to be ruptured or broken, I would not be able to survive. Thank you, God, for making me with openings and cavities. If one of them were to be ruptured, broken, or blocked, I would not be able to survive. This is important to me to be able to acknowledge because it's about a fundamental, existential, daily lived frailty that has to do with the porosity of myself as a biological organism. There's another prayer that really fucks with my head. May you open your hand and satisfy the desire of every living thing. That's in the liturgy. may you open your hand and satisfy the desire of every living thing. It's actually a quote, Psalm 145:16. You open-handedly satisfy the desire of all living things. One translation of the psalm. This amoral dimension of a will or an agency that I am subject to on a daily basis is really hard to get my mind around. The feeling of powerlessness and inability to meet or address these forces that unfold completely beyond my control. And yet there is the imperative to be an ethical person. So how could I be an ethical person if I possess the bronze eye? The bronze eye is what Genet calls the asshole. The bronze eye is a category. We each have one, but the bronze eye is a category of a particular aperture. Why am I hung up on Genet? This book is evil. It was called evil by critics. In this book, which is putatively about Jean Genet mourning a young man with whom he was very much in love, who died in the resistance in the last days of World War II, died fighting Nazis on rooftops in Paris in 1944. The entire book is dedicated to Jean, this resistance fighter, a young boy, as he's described. To honor Jean, Genet puts a burnt matchstick in an empty matchbox, puts the matchbox in his pocket, and just touches it every now and then in a melancholy way. That's melancholy. The matchbox is a coffin, the burnt match is a body. This is the totem. And Genet works that throughout the novel. What's also evil about this book is Genet has sex with Hitler. It's a fantasy. It's a fantasy, but Hitler is a kind of malodorous, pudgy guy with an asshole. And why is that significant? It's significant because it does humanize Hitler, but it doesn't humanize Hitler toward the end of having sympathy, because it's beyond that. The real challenge of thinking about the psychosexual dynamics of fascism is understanding that all of us could be fascists. That's where queer theory and post-war theory left us in the 80s and 90s. That's what we were thinking about. We were thinking about not only how fascism is a force against which we fight, but how is it that we all, because of the sexual social dynamics of abuse, have that potential. And I am stuck there, maybe. I don't know why I'm sharing this with you necessarily, but this is what seemed urgent to me to talk about when thinking about holes and porosity, when thinking about melancholy, the abiding sadness that cannot be displaced, the lack of an inside and an outside. Because Hitler is also a being with an odor, a being that craves, a being not a god, What happens if I say Trump? I wanted to read this book with other people. I was embarrassed. I was going to send out an email. Who wants to read this book with me again? I've read it many times. And I still don't know. I'm just bringing this question to you. I don't know, but this seems urgent to me. Because we are in the middle of fighting fascism. But for some reason, I just don't think we can organize along some basis of purity, pretending that we don't have holes, pretending that we don't have desires, pretending that our desire is good and the desire of our enemies is bad. To understand desire is a principle, and to understand that if everyone has the potential to understand pain, then that produces a kind of ethical dilemma in thought. There's another thing in psychoanalytic theory. Freud writes about, it's an essay, a child is being beaten. In the essay, the child is watching a parent beat a sibling, right? Spank a sibling. And Freud says that the child, who is the witness to the abuse, understands the whole complex because the child can be the sibling, the parent, and the witness. So think about that scene. We all have the capability of identifying with the perpetrator, the victim, and the witness. And we cycle through those positionalities as we try to comprehend what's going on for us and to us. I have no answers, and my time is up. But I wanted to put it out there that I think it's important, for me anyway, to not let go of this tendency in thought, this strand of thought. Historically, it was important. People like Simone de Beauvoir and Pierre Klosowski, they were really interested in the Marquis de Sade. Immediately after World War II, people were looking at libertine literature from the 1700s, not because the figure of the libertine, a person who is unbridled in their passions, to the extent that they are willing to visit all kinds of pain upon another, not to celebrate the libertine. Libertine literature was a meditation on how we are enslaved to our own desires. And how the ethical horizon is about understanding and managing the complexity of the pain, pleasure, unpleasure continuum which we all experience. Thanks.
Okay, well, thanks everyone for coming out and sticking through our kind of like fake intermission. We hope you'll join us tomorrow for an exciting slate of programs. Things kick off at 2 p.m. with a conversation between Andrea Long-Chu and Rachel Hunter-Himes and Bad Criticism, and continues throughout the day. You can read more about it in your program. Otherwise, feel free to hang out for a little bit, grab a drink, check out the merch tables. Our friends at PTP are over right next to the bar tabling. They have really cool music, books, shirts. We also have Greg's book in the back in the lobby at our own merch table. And just watch out for Lewis on your way out, and enjoy your night.